Welcome to Cyberpunk 2077. Amber here. This is the in-game tutorial focusing on combat. First, we'll go over range combat, which is using your gun, your pistol, your shotgun. Press Y to draw the last weapon you used and cycle through active weapons with Y, and double tap Y to holster your weapon. Aim with the left trigger, shoot with the right trigger, and you can just shoot from the hip with the right trigger. Reload with X, and to hit an enemy with your currently equipped weapon, you push down on the right stick. So that's like a melee attack with your gun. When you're behind cover, use the left trigger, which will provide you with a better position for shooting. And to get into cover, you use the B button. You can have up to 3 weapons available at a time in the quick access menu. Hold Y to open the quick access menu and navigate to the desired weapon with your right stick, and then press A to equip it. Press B to close the quick access menu. Melee combat. So just like for range combat, you use Y to draw the last weapon, cycle through weapons with Y, double tap Y to holster your weapon, either your gun or your melee weapon. But for melee combat, you use the right trigger for a fast attack, and for a strong attack, you hold the right trigger to charge and release to attack. To block, you're going to hold the left trigger. And to counterattack, you can press the right trigger right before being hit. Or for a defensive attack, hold the right trigger while blocking. So there's a couple special attacks. If you want to do a jump attack, you can use the right trigger in midair. For a slide attack, you can use the right trigger while sliding. For a sprint attack, right trigger while sprinting, and crouch attack, right trigger while crouching. And finally, quick draw attack, hold right trigger with a shield katana. So basically, you use the right trigger to attack, hold the right trigger to do a charged attack, and block with the left trigger. You can have up to 3 equipped weapons available for quick access, and that includes both melee and range weapons. Hold Y to open the weapons menu and navigate to equip them. And probably one of the most important things, way at the bottom here, melee attacks deplete your stamina, which decreases the speed and effectiveness of other actions that rely on stamina. And as you'd expect, the charged attacks and blocks deplete your stamina more quickly than the melee light attacks. Vehicle combat. Now, this is not actually your vehicles doing combat. This is how to use your weapons when you're inside the vehicles. So if you're in your vehicle and you want to draw your weapon, press Y, aim, use the left trigger, right trigger to shoot is normal, reload with X. So the same controls that you'd use if you were on foot, you can use them when you're in your car. And if you're a passenger, you have the special ability to lean out the window to use range weapons and return to your seat with B or by holstering your weapon. Stealth. These are the stealth game mechanics, which will be familiar to you if you've used other stealth games like maybe Assassin's Creed. So the first is grappling and takedowns. So you can grapple enemies unaware of your presence by pressing X, and you can either perform a lethal or a non-lethal takedown. So once you're grappling the enemy with X, you can use X again for a lethal takedown or Y for a non-lethal takedown. The enemy will struggle to free themselves from your grip, and the longer you hold them increases their chance to break free. Your body level as well as certain perks can allow you to grapple enemies for longer. And you cannot grapple higher level enemies marked with the skull. Although you cannot grapple higher level enemies and bosses, you can still perform stealth takedowns. It is difficult to remain concealed from them, but using certain abilities, combat gadgets, and environmental factors to your advantage may help. Some bosses may require more than one takedown to be defeated. Enemies and security systems may notice and react to unconcealed bodies you leave behind. Make sure to dump the bodies in appropriate hiding locations, such as dumpsters, or otherwise in areas that are not easily visible to enemies. And you hold Y to pick up a body and then press X to dump it. To dump a body in an appropriate container, approach it while holding the body and press X. Now, if you perform a takedown on an enemy directly next to one of these containers, you will hide the body there automatically. Remember that these containers have limited capacity and once you've placed a body in one, it cannot be removed. All loot from dumped bodies will be dropped to the ground in front of the container. So you can still loot the bodies even when you've put them in the container. Combat and alerted state. An enemy is in combat if it is actively attacking its target or approaching its last known location. When an enemy cannot locate its target, it will fall back to an alerted state and begin patrolling the area to search for the threat, making it more difficult to sneak around them. If an enemy finds a body, they will remain in a permanent alerted state, which is why you want to hide the bodies in dumpsters like they showed you in the last section. Patrols and distractions. Enemies patrolling an area follow a pattern that can be observed and used to your advantage. Some devices allow you to distract enemies and divert them from their path. An enemy who is distracted will have a white outline. Noises such as human footsteps or silenced gunshots can also alert an enemy who will then try to locate the source. Louder noises such as a combat initiating shout or a dying shout will make enemies enter an alerted state or enter directly into combat. And when we get to the quick hack section, you'll learn more ways you can distract enemies. So check out the next video in this tutorial series to learn more about quick hacking. This concludes this part of the tutorial. This is Amber. Subscribe to my channel for more guides and gameplay for Cyberpunk 2077.